double elimination. We've had a much better experience in the playoffs this time. We get it to finalize the Open Division in 2017, as it will be Heroes Hearth taking on that of Imported Support. Game 1 on Dragonshire.
Jay Helm giving you the classic. Please hit up a player to confirm the sides for me because I totally forgot to check.
Wouldn't be Open Division without them trying to bait us.
And here we go. Dragonshire to start out the best of 5. First pick, first ban to the red side. And I'm going to assume is Heroes Hearth.
I tell you what, whoever bans Ariel is Heroes Hearth. Because the Aware, I got a feeling, will not be getting their hands on Ariel unless Heroes Hearth overnight found out, they studied a little bit, tried to, find some counters, search within themselves, try and figure out which one they need to do. So we'll find that out here soon.
ETC ban. Now I'm suspicious. Right wing ban. Ariel has made it through.
The Brightwing has been problematic. First pick, Ariel. I imagine that, to me, it solidifies that of Imported Support on the right.
Yeah, you might be right. It's interesting. The reason I'm not certain is because, well, A, we didn't check, and B, Imported Support, typically it's the higher seed on the left side, 1 in the upper bracket, but the first seed of the tournament is Heroes Hearth. So I don't know how the ruling works. It actually varies from different games and different tournaments as to how that would be distributed. And we're going to continue refraining from putting that up till we get a confirmation from one of the players as to which side they're on. Anyways, the Ariel does seem suspicious for Imported Support. Ghoul, Dan, and Medic. The response.
I don't know if I have anybody else from the teams. 0 for 2 so far, but Gul'dan and Morales, one really good way to make sure you can maintain in a lane. We saw it in our previous series. It struggles after you get that wall down. If you kind of isolate it down there, you don't have the proper peel, things like that. You can only push so far for so long until you just kind of hit the, if we dive too far, we're both very vulnerable. So we'll see if there's a little bit different approach with this first game.
All right. We're just going to YOLO. And hope this is correct.
The crusade calls.
Johanna.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, they ran a lot of Johanna.
Yeah, this feels like that's here. So double support in Johanna. I'm all but confident that that is Imported Support, on the right-hand side.
Get to our second ban phase here, and we've seen different drafts by both of these teams throughout. Imported Support loving the double support, and the Aware had gotten back to where everybody's banning Ariel against him because he's done so tremendously well on that hero, but tonight gets let through. Malthael being hovered, though, for the second ban.
Now, the threat of Chagall isn't astronomical here when you see what they already have. What we did see a lot of Imported Support last night was this double support, Johanna, Zarya, and then one ranged carry. They're currently looking at the ranged carry options. If you ban Volley here, it's probably just going to be Zarya Cassia based on the formula that they were mostly running last night. Volley does end up getting banned. Now it's time for a ban from Imported.
Hovering the Malthael kind of says that you don't necessarily want to go into the Malthael. We've seen a lot of false stat play as of late, and they've been watching. They have been watching, and they're like, we don't want anything to do with the false stat.
Almost every time Arthlon could get his hands on Falstad, he did. And, he's had some meaningful Mighty Gusts, that's for sure. Not going to be his hero today. Gul'dan shouts Crowan. BBJ should be on the Morales. But McIntyre has been flip-flopping between supports, a lot of double support yesterday. And today we saw more of the Dahaka and the Malthael.
Yeah, the Malthael being hovered, it kind of feels like they might not necessarily want to go that route.
Right.
You know, there's not huge threats in terms of the crowd control. Johanna obviously has Blessed Shield. Rhaegar has no hard CC. You might get a whip from Aura, and that's pretty much it. You know, but you have ways of sustaining through that with that composition, but you also have the Marked for Death at level 7 to make sure that the reduced healing comes in during those, so the AoE heals from both, but instead we get Tass Diablo.
So this will be the second time that we've seen Ishbu play Diablo. It was actually the game on I think it was Tomb of the Spider Queen last night, where ETC ended up being the first ban from imported support, and they opted to go with the Diablo. It was also the first game of the series that they ended up winning. It looked very good, it was convincing, but that was really designed to be the Diablo charge, flip into root. They like ETC route, they like Diablo route. And yeah, it's Dragonshire, there's going to be a lot of roaming, but I'm curious as to how effective it'll be. Now, McIntyre should be playing the Tassadar. The only hero we don't have confirmed yet is Arthalon.
I will say this, is that an APOC into a potential Tormented Souls Chaos comp could work in this situation. So I'm going to hold out because they still need a solo. And with Falsight off the board, Malthael, Sonya, and Dahaka all kind of fit that role as we round it out with a Sonya and Lunara. And this, again, Lieutenant Morales, single target heals. Tassadar, your secondary support, doesn't get heals in the same traditional way, especially with the Gul'dan not getting those heals off of auto attacks that you would generally see.
Yeah. Definitely a bit of a mix-up. From what we saw, Sonya was played once by Imported on Infernal Shrines, a map where traditionally she's valued slightly higher since the objective has so many minions to heal off with that Whirlwind. But it's going to lock in their solo lane nicely. Lunara for the big range carry. The Malthael you mentioned does end up being that response. So this will likely just be McIntyre on the Malthael, and they swap Arthalon to Tassadar. When you have Arth on Tass, I feel like the Archon ends up being picked a little bit more often than McIntyre, but Force Wall is another big way to lock in those plays when Malthael goes to town.
It'll be fun to watch. Both teams have the sufficient wave clear. We've got the true double support on the side of Imported. We've got the Medic, Morales, and Tassadar on the left side for Heroes Hearth. So, again, the Lunara pickup is going to look really good. Expect to see good numbers throughout, and if you can spread that damage, will work out well. However, in the 3 or 4 man in the rotation in the bottom, will make it a little bit difficult because you're going to be trying to hit ranged heroes such as Tassadar, Gul'dan, and Morales with a solo Diablo in that front line, so the value might not come until a little bit later in the game. But the draft is over. We've got both of our teams here as we start game number 1 on Dragonshire with Heroes Hearth versus Imported Support. Heroes Hearth will be your team on the left in blue, and it will be BBJ on Lieutenant Morales, Ishbu on Diablo, McIntyre will be on Tassadar, Crowan on Gul'dan, and Arthalon this time, Jake, will be on the Malthael.
A mix-up I did not expect, but their opponents in the red Imported Support, they won in the winners finals in an epic Game 5 series versus this exact team. Draded Ignition, the Aware Specialty, and Swabs Magoo ride out to battle, immediately doing a 3-2 split. Yeah, as soon as they're greeted by 5 players.
I don't know if they'll hold this. We just saw it attempted by Donkeys. Obviously, I think Imported Support might have a little bit better draft in terms of that. Specialty, however, gets flipped and takes a bit of damage.
We're going to see Crowan very quickly build up that Hellfire, 8 stacks. Right out the gates, the grenades also going to be something we're going to keep track on in terms of the total count. When it comes to Diablo in general, you got to position a little bit different. You know, sometimes it takes a moment to acknowledge, yeah, he's going to flip us and shadow charge us away. It's not the same as a power slide. It's a similar kind of engage as ETC. But the end result and the options Ishbu has are definitely different.
Ishbu eating a lot of poison damage. Now, we're going to see the early rotation with the Johanna. You got to get that big whip in there, the clap going in from Ariel, and then the damage there, because we see Regen Master for Johanna.
Hawkray, I have a mission for you. Make a slap that whip it song, Ariel montage for me. Thank you. That makes great content. Detainment Strike onto Ishbu.
Both shrines momentarily channeled as BBJ going to sit on the point in the bottom. Will trade these out. You know, the rotation of Rhaegar between top and mid will be something to keep an eye on, because Malthael does really well in the solo lane, but Sonya there, probably one of the heroes that can best survive there. But you get a little bit of help from Rhaegar, you get pushes like that.
Pretty standard stuff right now. You know, Diablo and Johanna bullying each other around. No one really at risk of dying. Level 4 attained at the same time. Detainment Strike onto Crowan, forcing out some of those heals. BBJ is out of energy in this moment. Tassadar shields certainly help, but when you don't have any energy, gotta be a little careful, as that poison damage from specialty is significant.
Just wait till we hit level 7, then it becomes real easy to spread that. So we'll see how that plays out as this goes on. The Way of Clear again will come down, push through. The Gul'dan, no slouch, is going to clear that up without eating up too much ammo. And in the meantime, both shrines were channeled. Ishbu a little bit low, has to use the Shadow Charge. And Ishbu with a nice dodge on the Detainment Strike as well.
Nice juke for sure. You do have Consume Soul for a little bit more burst sustain, as you're pretty much always around minions on Dragonshire. Very valuable there for the Gul'dan. And yes, both shrines are under control by imported support once again.
They seem to be in control, and Heroes Hearth not exactly sure what they want to do with the Tassadar just yet. You can see on the minimap he has moved to the top while the action goes on here in the bottom lane.
Another game with the healing totem for Rhaegar. 6-6 right now. Ignition is keeping Ishbu and McIntyre eyes on, essentially. Level 4 or 40 hits of the Fell Flame at 3 minutes and 40 seconds there for Gul'dan, completing that quest because of the continuous brawling that we've seen. Now we get the Dragon Blue for a good 4 seconds.
Specialty walking through that corruption, not able to stay on that point. Is going to get the heal, but it does prompt the rest of imported
That grenade could actually be the end of the Aware. First blood of the game attempted, as the Fell Flame does pick up the kill. Nicely done by BBJ.
Yeah, the level of play by all heroes on the battlefield here will be high as we are in the grand finals. And you can see Prioritize in the bottom camp was cleared up. Draded on the top right will get the night camp. Lunara ends up falling. And I got a feeling the grenade had something to do with that, because Lunara stepping out anywhere in danger without the help of a grenade probably wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. BBJ, will give him credit for the first 2 kills of the game for sure. Night Camp was picked up during all this time, which means, yeah, that's a little bit of extra XP. It's going to march on the top lane, and Malthael will have more to deal with. But the XP looking good right now as they pull ahead with those 2 kills. Neither team has been able to get a dragon, of course. I mean, that's pretty standard for this map in the early game.
Just checking the bushes there. Ignition in a little bit of trouble. There is more damage coming out there.
5-man collapse onto the mid lane. Now, they did concede presence in the top, which allowed Sony to push the Night Camp in, deal with the tower, absorb all the ammunition, and build up the wave. But, yeah, those kills. This could be a dragon, potentially, probably not. Detainment Strike is good on BBJ. Grenade not there, but Crowan able to put enough presence forward and keep BBJ safe.
They're really going to have to try and pressure the spot lane while they have a small window, try and get some structure damage and make up and bridge that gap that you have there in the experience. But level 10 picked up. They're going to rotate mid. They tried to look for a kill there. They're not going to be able to find it. Ishbu and company are going to be just fine. And the heroics across the board will be that APOC. We've got Force Wall that will try and be locking people in this game.
Okay. McIntyre does play a lot of Force Wall, and he's put out some of the most beautiful Force Walls in this tournament. Honestly, I love watching the guy in Tassadar offering a lot of control for the team when you're trying to get your team in a good situation for the Apocalypse. Definitely a good asset.
Oh, the healing reduction, the touch of death, the force wall into the flip over. Ishbu and company have locked in kill number 4 here. So they've stretched a full level lead, but there is some redemption there as level 10 and heroics have been picked up here by important support.
Crowin's numbers are already at 21k. Lunara keeping pace at 20,000 herself. I'm intrigued to see how impactful Stem Drone will be. Malphil will probably be the target for it. It's definitely nice to have, but he's not like your traditional like mega auto attack hero.
Ishbu very far forward, defending here. There's another force wall locking them in. Ishbu starting to take damage, but the Horrify has kicked things off here, and the APOC is out as well.
APOC creates a bit of chaos, hits no one, and Arthalon caught by himself on the Malphil. Shield from Cass, keeping him up. The medic heals coming through. Able to keep him alive. Not a single member died in that fight. Ancestral and Crystal Aegis, the important sustained heroic still available. I guess you can try to engage with Malphil on Stim Drone. That's the big power that is retained for Heroes Heart.
They sent Rhaegar off to start a camp. Sonya's going to move to the top while they leave Johanna to defend the lane. Diablo and Malthel, however, are going to be looking for Sonya in that top. Swabs Magoo all of a sudden is like, wait a minute, something's not right here.
Shadows. And that should be enough for the kill as the damage is trickling. No, tapping the well.
The healing reduction working so well. They're unable to confirm it. Force wall locked in again, but Draded and company starting to come over. Swabs Magoo is going in, and specialty as well.
McIntyre has nothing to do or to get away from that. They get the double kill as Arthalon as well, but the Dragon at least is a consolation prize for BBJ.
It's a consolation. You'll be able to take this wall down, but the minute the rest of the team comes through, as the Aware gets booted away, you basically, it's nil. You can't really push against this style because you'll get attacked down. You're just going to have to delay. You get a little bit out of it, but it does give you a little bit of control of the map. We'll reset the shrines, have a dead phase. But other than that, this is going to be pretty neutral outside of a little bit of poke here.
Yeah, I mean, it keeps Imported honest. After getting a double kill, usually you're thinking, yeah, we can pressure the fort, yeah, we can get some kind of value somewhere, but BBJ denying them that treat. The flip onto Draded puts him in a bad spot here. It's going to be enough damage from Arthalon going in for the kill.
Well, that definitely opens things up, makes it a little bit easier. Bottom fort fell, mid lane. Obviously, we saw the gank there onto Rhaegar. So it ended up being a little bit better than I think we would have anticipated.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, talk about holding steady. They maintained that one level lead even after losing the two heroes. About as much as you could ever ask for. So, Heroes Hearth are in a strong position, and now that we have level 13, I mean, From the Shadows makes Diablo really scary. You throw Devastating Charge into the mix, and suddenly it can become devastating. We'll definitely keep our eyes on that. 5 charges. Man, Diablo hurts.
Hey,
Dude.
stack it up. Stack it up. Johanna, again, I talked about how she struggles with the initiation. That's about as good as it gets. Swabs would go on the backside, receives the Ancestral. The Horrify is out, but I don't know if we get the engage that they're looking for.
No, they still have a Pox in the tank.
Oh!
The Pox does get decent value as Arthalon's in the back, and the double support keeping Crowin alive. Big Fell Flame damage, the poison of the corruption as well. Ishbu goes down. Soul's ready. He'll be up in 1 second, but so many low targets they cannot afford to chase without Diablo.
Diablo walked into that Crystal Aegis. He had no way out, saving, and ended up getting that trade. It's a weird thing because taking the souls off of a Diablo makes him far less tanky.
Yeah, far more
it's a win when you can get that.
It's true. It's true. It makes, you know, so Diablo basically has to try to roam and farm again. You collect the souls, defeat the minions, and slowly but surely it'll happen. But you don't collect souls at the same rate in the mid to late game as you're not just laning as frequently. Dragonshire, it's a good map for it anyways, but Level 16 advantage will give them the power spike regardless of Diablo's HP.
Lunara spreading the damage. Blast Shield is out. The spear's going to hit, and there is a very light Diablo. And that's what I'm talking about. His health pool is drastically different. The way that he gets blown up without souls, that's
not even
exactly what it
not
looks
even
like.
close, right? They're like, wait, what? Why am I dead? Well, you got a grenade build. Full power now. But we're looking at a bottom lane to go down. Now, Hero's Hearth is accepting this and split pushing. Opening bottom always very valuable here on Dragonshire. But at least they're going to be able to put the pressure on the top. But this is level 16 now being achieved for donkeys, or imported support, excuse me.
A lot going on here. Night Camp was picked up by Rhaegar. I don't know if they can posture up too much here, as they'll probably turn their attention elsewhere, as it looks like imported support might be rotating up, looking for a fight, looking for a bit more map control. You can only push out so far in that bot lane. We've seen teams just earlier get punished for staying too long in situations like that.
Ishbu can finally start getting some more souls for his demon belly. Containment strike. Yeah, scary situation there. Everyone is collapsing in on mid. Ishbu's not going to play with fire. Even tapping the well to make sure there's okay. Dimensional shift also has been spent. Force wall slowing down the additional rotation in. The Flesh Shield did end up going out there, and there's no D-shifter for McIntyre, so he becomes a kill target. Horrify has to be used.
Horrify was used, but a grenade came in right before that. Devastating charge into the wall means a Crystal Aegis is out. Ignition is so very low on the backside. The Ancestral goes onto Lunara, and somehow Johanna walks away from that, but Slops Magoo!
The heal from Ariel. Is it enough? No! Fell Flame crushing through, finding 2 of the kills there. 1 for Malthael, 1 for Gul'dan, and the retreat for the rest of the 3 should be good, but we're looking at a dragon around the corner.
Somebody's going to go top to obtain that, and it should be the Dragon Knight, but Rampant, the Rampant Flames at level 16, it looks fine, but after a couple of those go out from Gul'dan, it hurts. And when you stack that up in a team fight and you clump up like that, Gul'dan will be more than willing to trade there. That's going to be a Dragon Knight and a full level lead for Heroes Heart.
Fort number 2 going down here in Ignition. You know, punting almost helping him out. Force Wall not going to be in range to threaten the life of Johanna. Dragon pursuing the bottom lane. That level advantage as Malthael is going to clean up the top fort to push this team towards level 20. 19 is here. When you get down to keep wall in the top fort, 20 is not at all far away.
Yeah, Malthael, as we see on the mini-map, is doing his best. Terrible siege damage, but as long as you can take down the minions and push in, makes it a little bit easier. Swaps Magoo, gonna miss the spear.
Missing the spear makes it safe for Arth to hang around for a while, and that's exactly what we're going to see happen here. It's going to consume all of that soul health. And yeah, look at the XP. 2-level advantage. Fort did fall. Keep wall fell. 20 in queue.
Holding on to this keep is something that you really want to make sure that you can do, but the poke threat here is Crowan poking away. Dragonite 10 seconds left, but the threat of 20 is going to make it incredibly difficult. But Ignition has other ideas, and as he comes out to condemn, he gets a big old boot to the face by Ishbu.
The keep is very low. Level 20 is already here. We've got Haunt, and that makes everyone seem super squish. If Ariel is and Rhaegar cannot get their Crystal Aegis and Ancestrals in there, while the Haunt is in play, Gul'dan is just going to rip those health bars apart. So is Malthael.
Well, this keep should fall. Right about there.
Blood of Terror is going to be fun to watch. Kind of like Blood for Blood. AoE lifesteal. Heals him. 10% of all damage dealt. Pretty short range, but if you shadow charge in the middle of a fight, take a lot of damage, press that 1 or 2 key and eat them souls.
I love this discipline here by Arthalon. There's no need to pick your 20 talent. You can snap pick it in the heat of battle. If you die, you have a talent that says, I'm coming back to life. So you
Oh,
pick it in the
returning.
moment. No need to lock it in yet. I
Yep.
like the discipline.
Force walls galore as well. We see force barrier quite a bit. 5 seconds off that cooldown. I mean, it's just always there, always present, and brings up the lethality of a Diablo. Shadow charging you with the devastating charge into that force wall, you name it.
It's brutal. It is brutal amount of damage. You could say it's a
And
devastating.
It's almost done. One more charge, and it's maxed out.
This is a scary push. Without 20, you do have Thornwood Vines, but Siege Giants, Knights, and Catapults all pushing, and the charge directly into the Force Wall forces a quick Iron Skin from Ignition.
Does. It's such big pressure. I mean, when you have From the Shadows, it makes Diablo such a cool hero. And that this combo of Diablo with that Tassadar, I love it. I love seeing these rare heroes like Diablo get cool creative usage like that.
Sonya top lane's got to be careful on how far she pushes up there. Malthael's now shown. Bot Shrine has been captured. It's very troublesome, although Malthael's just going to try and get on. Oh, the spear does not land, and now we've got the rest of the team rotating up. Johanna going to be the last one here, and they are stuck behind enemy lines, Jake, as they're going in, and the instant Aegis.
No level 24 imported support, but they do get a nice start to the fight. Diablo with that shadow charge onto Draded, trying to find the kill in Arthlon. Gonna be sure to finish it off. Deep is Swabs Magoo, trying to keep most of the team busy, but Arthlon and Ishbu have no qualms with pushing forward. Swabs goes down, the Aware and Ignition will follow, as that's a nice force wall, and this game is all but over.
Another force wall goes in, just a formality.
Oh, by the way, force wall. Hey, look, force wall. Force barrier is so strong.
It's pretty tough. That's a really short cooldown. They don't even need to get the Dragon Knight. They're going to walk directly to core. They have catapults that will be sieging upon there. They're going to walk to the core and take a Game 1 victory in our best of 5 to kick off the grand finals. Stim Drone, Taskar.
These two teams faced each other just last night in a best-of-5 in the winners' finals, and Import Support clutched it out in Game 5. But the series started with 2 wins. Actually, the series started with a core throw at 33%, where Heroes Hearth threw the game, effectively. And that put the momentum into Imported Support. Tonight, Heroes Hearth are warmed up. They're playing different drafts, and they're aware, and they've studied, and they've formulated new drafts to combat what Imported Support busted out last night. And like we said, these teams are both going to the Crucible, but this match counts for so much.
Yeah. It's either you play Even in Death or you play Lagif, and a lot of people...
There's a disparity there.
A bit.
Yeah.
And not only that, we talked about the fact that if for whatever reason a team doesn't come back, they disband, similar to what we had last season, then the winner of this playoffs will get that automatic bid into the Pro Division. So there's a lot that to consider just here. It's nice that both teams are in the Crucible, but there's a lot more in the Grand Finals in getting that #1 seed.
There's a lot more. But it's just the beginning. 1 game in the bag for Heroes Hearth, a nice start on Dragonshire. It's a map where Heroes Hearth does do very well.
Yep.
We'll have to see. We'll keep our eyes on the friends list. Oh, lobby's already up. We are going to Infernal Shrines for Game 2. Haven't seen Shrines yet tonight.
Not tonight, but we saw it. That was where the throw happened. That was where it happened last night. First game, last night. I think it got it down to 33%.
Another great map for Heroes Hearth. That was their choice of map last night. This is also another map where Cho'Gall is absolutely a threat. So do expect the Ariel ban for the Aware. But when we have seen Ariel banned, what we've seen in response is either Brightwing or Medic. Just about every single time. So I'm curious.
We saw the Brightwing ban last game, and I'm kind of on board with that now. You know, the composition that we had last night from Heroes Hearth they basically had 0 shrine clear. They lost every single Punisher, if I remember correctly. And the
They
composition on imported, but Heroes Hearth had a composition that was able to push. They had the Zul composition. They had one that was able to push lanes while ignoring that, and so it kind of kept it even at times. I think it was like right around 14. They actually had a lead in terms of experience. So they played with what they had, but they ended up getting a big team fight win at the end, falling on core, and
I'm just going to do something on your computer real quick because mine's weird.
hacks.
Can you click that button for me?
I most certainly
Yeah. Thank
certainly
you.
can. But the whole thing that went on there was they ended up getting a big team fight. So there was a lot of times that there were some epic fights. I remember Sonya somehow miraculously staying alive despite all that poison damage that was coming out and staying alive in that fight. And it was wild. I mean, it was a wild game one between these teams last night. So I'm excited for it.
It's been
tonight.
a pretty interesting night overall because, okay, we're talking about a double support meta, and how do you combat double support? Well, you could say blow them up, burst damage, blow them up, burst damage. That's like a pretty reasonable thought. The approach has been a lot of poison damage.
Yeah.
Deals with armor, it can be overwhelming, and we've seen plenty of Gul'dan, Lunara, and Nazebo. And
Lots of it.
we even saw the Toad build. Now, this isn't a map where
Even saw
Nazebo's...
Poison over Zul last
We
night.
did see poison over Zul. And it's been really cool seeing that poison damage be prominent, but also it's got so much value because armor is a non-issue for it, and poison just is very effective in those scenarios. It's going to be a fun draft. We're just about ready to go. I'm actually going to tell the players that we are good. Again, congrats to the 5 people that won the Ana bundles during the break. We will have 5 more Ana bundles after the series concludes.
Shout out to Blizzard
Yeah.
hitting us up in the middle. They're like, by the way, why don't you give out some skins?
Yeah,
I mean, reward the people that are following. The lucky 10 that are. That's a decent amount.
Yeah, 10 Ana bundles in total tonight.
That's 10 more than I got.
Me too.
That's true. So I want one. I will scour the entire campus tonight.
I want that
I mean,
Diva the
I'll probably
Destroyer
get
skin.
escorted
That's
or-
what I want, dude.
The Diva
Diva the
Destroyer
Destroyer
skin
skin.
is.
Did you see the tints?
I don't care. The red and black one
well,
is
no,
way too baller,
The tints
man.
are themed after the dragon aspects.
Don't care.
The names?
care.
Oh, there's the
Dude,
the
red
Malygos
and black one is god tier in
It-
terms of skins.
No, Malygos.
No!
Malygos.
It's even the featured skin showing it off in the bundle. There is no better Diva skin than the Diva Destroyer black and red Deathwing skin. It's a non-argument. Let's move on to the draft. I've already won that argument.
I mean, you're wrong, but it's all right.
I said let's move on to the draft, Jake. I'm not going to argue what's already a fact.
1-0 lead to Heroes Hearth going to Infernal Shrines. First pick, first ban for imported support. Now, we talked about the likelihood of seeing the Ariel ban from Heroes Hearth. Imported does like to deny ETC, but they're not doing that. They're expecting the Ariel ban. Oh.
I think they've moved on to the Brightwing.
But Chogariel is a legitimate threat on Infernal Shrines from imported support. And they can go Ariel first pick and not get Cho'Gall. They're going to do that. Cho'Gall is not guaranteed by any means. Do we see early Greyman?
And that's the thing, is that if you're going to do Cho'Gall, the best way to do it is when you have first pick, so you can get it after the second ban, and your enemy team only has one counter pick available after you pick it. I don't know if we'll see it. It seems likely imported used to run it on this battleground, as you said. This is a battleground for Cho'Gall. It's one that they ran it previously during Phase 1, so it's very much a possibility.
They're thinking about it. They definitely got to consider.
I mean, another Tassadar pick I'd be more than okay with. I really loved the Morales ban, by the way.
Gul'dan and ETC. This is the moment to consider Cho'Gall. If they don't pick it here, they probably won't play it.
I think that if they're going to, they've got to wait till after.
You think so?
Yeah.
Just to. So what would you pick? Something like Rhaegar, Johanna?
I think a Rhaegar pickup in this rotation would be really good. It gives you that Shrine Clear. They might even just go Johanna again. I think, they ran it last night to great effect. They did a similar composition with the Ariel Johanna Rhaegar, making sure that they had really good Shrine control. So they have for Greymane Zarya.
I think Cho'Gall's still a threat. Greymane's one of the good responses to it. But this is a really nice flexible draft. If you don't go, if they don't ban Cho'Gall, they can consider that. If they do ban Cho'Gall, it's going to end up being. I don't know if they do the Greymane Hypercarry, however. I was going to say.
You mean Gaul?
Well,
dun dun dun. Plot twist.
because they could run the Ariel, Zarya, Johanna, but they probably wouldn't run Ariel solo support. They haven't done that.
But you've got Zarya is in the weird
Kind of
pseudo
a
support.
Yeah, she's in line with
The
Tassadar.
shields are a long cooldown.
Yeah.
And going into the globe talent for shields is a very long talent to finish on this map in particular. Johanna gave Heroes Hearth fits. It's also one of the best counters towards an ETC dive because you've got the Iron Skin, you've got the Condemn if you can get that out as he slides in because it still will go through. And there's just a lot of good control on the Shrine, so it gave Heroes Hearth a lot of problems.
It did.
Now, a Malthael ban seems safe and gives you the potential Cho'Gall priority still, I think, here.
Yeah. That's reasonable. Lucio, denial. Support situation, likely a Rhaegar. Does Rhaegar do great with Gul'dan? Not so much. Could see Malfurion considered for a little bit more of the control style.
The bans on the supports, man, I'm absolutely loving. How do you deal with double support? Ban all of them. Ban every single one of them. The Lucio ban to give the consistent heals to Gul'dan and a potential double support setup. Just take it away. Now, we are talking about a potential Malfurion, though, Jake, that we have seen already once tonight in a solo support role.
Okay. I was curious if they were going to try to leave the last spot open to be a Leoric. They commit to the Dahaka and the Falstad. Double global, lets you run around the map a lot, gives you the power of Gust, Dahaka with those flanks, and the armor reduction will be really nice later on in the game. Last pick does seem likely to be Malfurion, just because power slide, drag, roots, something BBJ really likes and can do fine with Gul'dan. Better than Rhaegar for sure. But that Cho'Gall, does it happen?
I'm trying to think of what appeals to me on a warrior standpoint for Ignition here. Johanna, they've run pretty heavily. Garrosh doesn't do particularly well here. Muradin, we've seen have an abysmal win rate in both Pro Division and here.
He really has. 1 second left. Do they go one less body versus double global? No, not willing to do it.
I can dig it.
Yeah, I think this is a great response. They got the Stitches. I think Stitches with the threat of Expulsion Zone for secluding people is very good. This is a great map for Stitches in general. It's got good presence on the Shrine when it comes to the slam and the bile, the filth.
Rhaegar or Malfurion? Which one are you feeling here? I feel comfort-wise, Malfurion will kind of be it. You can make sure and keep the stitches locked down. Might even see the Lunar Shower at 7 to get the slows into a Roots or the follow-up in ETC. But I wouldn't be surprised if you want to have that Shrine clear. You want to have the Ancestral. You want to have the Cleanse. And that might just be it for ETC. Spending a lot of time thinking about it.
It's just the Malfurion. All right. So, all things considered, good drafts for both teams. It's the first time, in what feels like in a lifetime, that Imported didn't go double support.
Yeah.
Zarya, kind of in that realm, but definitely not the full-on.
I would have, against this composition, instead of the Vala pick, I would have loved the Kael'thas. The threat always going to be there at the front. Really good Shrine color. The Vala is really good.
Yeah.
You needed a battery for Ariel. Greymane doesn't quite fit that, so it makes sense. Since it is technically your own support, okay, I'm take that back. I would like that in another sense, but if you would have had Vala, or excuse me, Vala Kael'thas, maybe that would have been a better direction. But Greymane, it's kind of hard to go wrong there.
Heroes Hearth have the 1-0 lead, but this is a best of 5. Plenty of time for Imported to turn things around. Hopefully we don't see the core dive like we saw last night from either team. But to be determined as we load on in. Looking at the talents. Nothing out of the ordinary.
We've got the Moonfire, which could lead into the 147 that we've seen. It's been a while since we've seen it, since we've seen Malfurion kind of fall off in favor of supports, but every single person on the side of Heroes Hearth has a big fat 0 on their quest, and they all have level 1 questing talents.
I love questing talents. One of my favorite additions to this game.
Me and you both. Me and you both. Open. See multi-shot build here from Fall at level 4.
Yeah.
Be a weird world at this point if we see the hybrid again.
Been pretty consistent in these games, but when it comes to fighting over the shrines, being able to threaten those last hits with something like multi-shot can be super impactful. You know, sometimes the Punishers end with a 2 or 3, point difference, and that one talent can be game-changing for them in that regard.
Early phase of a lot of nothing probably in this. Like I said, a lot of questing talents. Gul'dan, of course, will get his flames built up.
Zarya's got good energy, so she's going to be able to put on some decent pressure. But we do have the Power Slide, Roots, and McIntyre looking for the Dragon Taming Strike was used. Big damage from Gul'dan, but it's going to be enough counter pressure with specialty and free reign through that.
I'm surprised because they committed the global of Dahaka down. Now they have Falstad as the backup. Somebody will be able to rotate top. They might miss out on a few minions. By not getting that kill, it ends up being a loss.
And of course,
his cooldown is pretty significant because the Shrine's spawning. That's a 1 minute cooldown still. So he's going to have to sit in that top lane, soak 4. He might be late to the party. You never want to be late to the party, Jim.
No, you want to be on time. Min-max that party atmosphere. 16 out of 40 for Gul'dan. We do have this first shrine beginning. When it comes to that AoE, it did end up being multi-shot from Ball. Punishment going to help out for sure. First time we've seen it on the stream in this tournament.
Does feel weird. Dahaka coming in on the backside. We see the Brush Stalker. The minute Greymane went top, they've got their priority target. That will be Swab's Magoo, as he's going to be the first one to fall. McIntyre healing up with the Essence. And that is going to be a win on the side of Heroes Heart.
Yep, this time the Dahaka rotation hitting the mark. And that evens the current count, but without Zarya, much harder to contest this. Greymane taps the well, making his way towards the fight as we've seen Specialty put out the damage, but so low right now as Ishbu secluding Specialty, but Specialty is not afraid Throwing out auto after auto after auto. The Aware, however, doesn't have the heals in time.
Backdoor Falstad just sneaking in there. It's like, I'm just going to kill on the backside while the rest of the imported support chases another. And that all but confirms the first Punisher going over to Hero's Hearth, as it was heavily contested with these short death timers, but confirmed there. One more Punisher than they got in their game last night against the imported support. Already off to a better start.
Yeah, so far the draft's working out nicely. Good clear on both teams. And the Punisher gonna help them get at least the one tower. Probably the whole wall being the maximum you can hope for those early Punishers. Focus ends up being too clean and sufficient. They only get the single tower.
2 towers. Oh,
great move.
Eventually Helm's Deep will fall.
Oh man, it's almost a holiday season. I always marathon those
Oh
movies.
my goodness,
I
it is the
can't wait.
dream.
I can't wait.
It's one thing I do miss about living in like cooler weather.
Yeah.
In Florida, it doesn't quite feel the same when you're sitting there
That sounds so
December with the
disappointing.
air
I'm not
conditioning
gonna
on.
lie. I'm not gonna lie. Level 7 achieved first here. That Boomerang gonna help out Falstad quite a bit. We do have the Strangling Vines again. This has been very impactful every single time BBJ has grabbed it. And it is solo support this time. Ariel looks for that one big heal. 30% less healing on 2 to 3 members, maybe? Who knows? Something you gotta think about before casting that heal. Crystal Aegis could be forced in some situations where he otherwise would have wanted to hold it.
Look on Ishbu, instantly uses that face melt. Got the big knockback on a power slide to safety directly after that. Pretty even here so far as Dahaka Falstad, they're kind of figuring out who's going to be top. Will we try and invade Dahaka sitting in the bush, trying to see if there's going to be any rotations on the minimap, while the entire time our action has been happening down here. Some mind games going up. I think Dahaka actually found himself a Greymane.
Almost. Traded's going to end up hearthing home. With Greymane out of the picture, that leaves top a little bit open. See Stitches roaming up there. It will be a top shrine. No crazy opportunities for anything weird to happen right now. 10 isn't immediately an advantage. So I would expect to see the fight, but they're posturing to just give it up. And Hero's Heart doesn't miss a beat.
That's what happens when you got ETC on your side.
Okay, Shrine does get started. Frost Punisher.
Don't even get a haha.
I'm sorry, I spaced.
What did you say?
It's fine.
I said they don't miss a beat. I said that's what happens when you have ETC on your side.
All right. Haha.
There we go. Level 10 almost here for Hero's Hearth as they look to try and take a firm grasp on this game. We saw Stitches up at the top steal a few. I don't know if we're going to see 10 in time to contest this. So Hook's going to miss there. Arthalon and team are going to rotate up. And it's an interesting approach because Gul'dan and Malfura and ETC, they're looking for picks mid and haven't even considered going up.
Another thing you got to consider is when you run a tank like Stitches, he's not the same kind of... He's a little different, right? He hooks. He doesn't have the close range stun. You can use hook close range to stun, but it's not the same kind of response you want from Mosh Pit. So Mosh Pit could be definitely a deadly tool in this game. Twilight Dream, Gust, all there as well. It's 26 to 8. Both teams at 10. Expulsion Zone for controlling space. Going to be very good.
This is an interesting setup. I mean, you've got a pretty big lead already on the side of Hero's Hearth, but they're coming in looking for a fight, looking for a pick. Ignition trying to find a hook target. And speaking of hooks, we've got ourselves a drag directly onto Traded. The Putrid Bile is out.
All right, Twilight Dream used in a desperate attempt, but that Mosh Pit is wonderful. BBJ gets focused during it, and they can't quite get the damage. Arthalon at 70 HP. A Gillian Cocktail could be considered. He's flying away back home. Crowan, the only damage left to consider attempting this fight. It will be won by imported support, even with that 3-man Mosh.
Wow. Just wow. Incredibly done for imported support to come up, recapture the lead, get 10, come up. And that's what I said. I didn't quite understand where Hero's Hearth was going because they sent Falstad and Dahaka, which is kind of enough. Gul'dan, I think, does a bit better. Dahaka, okay there. But they end up losing the Punisher, losing the team fight, losing their experience lead. Now they're going to lose some structures. Very nicely done for imported support.
Yeah, here's how I think you said they looked for that fight when they had the lead. Now they're going to defend this Punisher fairly quickly. Dahaka and Falstad getting that global value. Going to keep the game in a very even state right now. So it's 1-1 for the Punisher count, 12-12, pretty much dead even, 3-3 on the kills, like about as balanced as it gets. Arthalon barely getting out of the way of that hook. But we don't see a lot of Zarya, J-How. And that expulsion zone, again, was very impactful. Horrify effectively did nothing because of it. It kept the damage from having any impact. BBJ then was in an awkward position. He was promptly focused very well by imported support. And that's the story of this team right now.
Story for me right now, Greymane finally rotating up. We had a 5-man composition here while Falstad and Dahaka have been soaking that mid and top lane. They're going to be forced to respond to that at some point. And you can see they're not going to try to miss out on any XP here. They're also going to move over towards their Shaman camp. Because that Shrine phase was top last time, means that you'll get more value out of the Shamans. He ends up skipping that. He's going to fall back for that, make sure he doesn't miss that XP. But picking that Shaman camp against Globals, not necessarily as valuable, but seems likely they'll at least attempt it. Right, they're just debating me the entire way around. He keeps walking by the Shaman camp. I don't want anything to do with it.
Also Dahaka. BFFs.
Okay, finally. Nope. After the one-man party bush of Dahaka, Greymane has taken a long route between top and mid.
Yeah. Both teams just grabbing the fallen shaman as we have the third shrine of the game. Bottom shrine this time around, well, once again actually. So if it goes over, looking for the gank, but they're finding themselves in a 4v2, 5v2 scenario. Mighty Gust has to be used. So it ends up being Mighty Gust for Reign of Vengeance. Comparable, I guess.
And they cleared that camp up. That's what timing can do to you. That camp's no longer there, which means that Dahaka, now forced to stay up there longer, he's going to be forced to clear out that Shaman camp. Thus the advantage. That's what timing can mean. 5 seconds, 10 seconds. If you ignore that, now that's going to push. That top fort will fall eventually to that camp. He's forced to come down to try and contest this shrine.
Bottom fort did go down. As you mentioned, that top camp will deal with the top fort if he lives up. Dead even when it comes to the race of the Skeletal Defenders, 20-20 just about. We're looking for the fight. File does go out expulsion zone.
Oh, the expulsion zone canceled the Twilight Dream, and Malfurion gets exploded. The mosh pit's going to go out, but that is a very low health ETC, and just like that, imported support takes that fight. That expulsion zone, Jake, was
again
perfect.
Straight up winning the fight.
I don't even know if it was intentional at that point. It just worked out that incredibly well for them.
You know, I was thinking, well, he's got Ice Block. Maybe he'll live through it. Nope, didn't get to cast it. Didn't have the chance. Twilight Dream was interrupted, as you mentioned, and disaster for BBJ. Both ETC and Malfurion are down and out, and this Punisher is going to tear through this keep wall. They're almost respawning, so the keep should be defensible.
Oh, getting that sidewall down, trying to get that hook to land. It's going to be a few more seconds before it's off cooldown the entire time. They're going to push this bottom keep. The Punisher baited over to the mid keep. Ignition going to try and look for that hook. Here it
damage.
comes.
It's just too much as they're going to get the first keep of the game.
Hook
Man,
follow.
Specialty has no fear. No fear.
It seems like they thought about maybe going towards
BBJ.
The flight.
It's going to be good, and the Twilight Dream is there for the follow-up roots, and they're straight throwing out a Horrify. The Crystal Aegis going to be enough to save Specialty for now, and he's building up an energy for Ariel to keep the Dream alive. Drated with Go for the Throat. Finding the kills, Ice Block is cast. It's just delaying the imminent death, and we're looking like a 1-1 series as Imported puts a point on the board.
Oh my goodness, that turn. That Twilight Dream hit almost everybody, but there was one hero that was left untouched, and that was Ariel. And we know what the Aware likes to do is make those clutch plays. Important support.
Swabs Magoo just dabbing on the Zarya.
Yeah, I want to go back. I want to go back to level 10 versus level 9, and Heroes Hearth was like, you know what? We're fine leaving Falset up there. We're fine leaving Dahak up there. We're not even going to help. Level 10 picked up by Imported Support. Imported Support gets another Punisher. They get back into the game. They clear up the XP. It seemed like things turned right around there.
It really did. Expulsion Zone's definitely an impactful thing. The Malfurion of BBJ is something that he's really good on, really keen on, and he oftentimes has to put himself in a forward position to look for those Twilight Dreams. It's just how the hero works, right? Twilight Dream is a radius around Malfurion, need to get in the battle. 13 with Ice Block makes it a little bit more okay, but Expulsion Zone is such a snap resource to put you in a situation that not only restricts your opportunities to retreat, but if you step into it, or if it's right next to you, it will interrupt your cast. And we saw that happen. Yeah, and we saw that happen to the Twilight Dream. It bopped him, and it completely messed up his groove, and just dead. And yes, that Gust Twilight at the end looked phenomenal, but Crystal Aegis, and then the focus was not on specialty. He vaulted up to the right.
Got the heal.
He got
I think
the
he got
heal.
a shield
He
in
got a
there
shield.
as well, yeah.
And it was just full energy for Ariel. Heal, go for the throw in the bottom. Kill. It just
It was
team
really
fighting
interesting.
was so well done from Imported.
Greymane, when Falstad flew in, Greymane's like, we got to kill him really quick. And he actually dove into Worgen for him, put himself into the flight. So it's like, whoop. And it was just like really weird interaction as he dove in. You hear him hop into Worgen for him and then just instantly shoot across the screen. And it's like, that was bad. And then it's like, wait a minute. And I ended up pulling that off. That was really impressive. It almost seems, think about level 10 last night on the Shrine. Same thing. Imported Support's like, that's fine. We've got Johanna. They stayed on that. It just seems like something about Infernal Shrine, something about level 10 for Heroes Hearth just isn't clicking.
Jay, I need you to hit that button again.
All right, I have joined.
Nice. 1-1 in the grand finals. And again, these teams are they're both going to the Crucible, but they're fighting for the first seed, the champion of the Open Division, and the right to choose their opponent between Lag Force and Even in Death. And that's definitely a big deal for them. But I don't know who's going to win this. I think at this rate, it feels like we're going to get a good Game 5 because Heroes Hearth looked very convincing in Game 1, Imported looked very convincing in Game 2.
So, we see the map, Cursed Hollow.
Uh-huh.
You and I talked about this multiple times. We spent a lot of time reminiscing about our games last night because this was an epic night of games, especially Imported Sports Series. And remember the Brightwing Emerald win? Is the minute the Falstad fight came in, it's like, game. Like, perfect. So we've seen Brightwing banned multiple times now. Okay, multiple times.
I think she's banned for sure here.
Do you continue to give up Ariel?
I know.
That's what I'm
so
saying.
hard.
Like, do you eventually like, dude? I'm tired of the Ariel. Give him the Brightwing. To hell with it. Let's just give him Bright. Or because Heroes Hearth will have first pick, do you have to make a play around that? Because they've been banning supports away from them. They've been taking Morales off the board. And I really wonder, will Heroes Hearth try and turn the tide in the support category?
Maybe. We don't see BBJ play a lot of Brightwing.
I know.
And they're often, it's either Mac or Arthlon on the global. And the Falstad can totally work. I'm not saying the Falstad is a non-option. But I almost want to see them attempt to do something with Abathur. I don't know if that's the solution, but it's a good map for it.
Agreed.
You can do Abathur Greymane, you can do Abathur Vala, you can do Abathur Malthael. There's a lot of different opportunities for that. But they're going to need a global in response. Same time, Dahaka could be that global option for them too. They were straying away from putting McIntyre on melees last night in general. Didn't see him play Malthael at all. Didn't see him play Dahaka at all. And he's played both tonight. So I'm hoping the adjustment is more in that realm. Arthlon's very flexible, right? He could play numerous things.
We have not seen a Medivh yet, and he
At all.
played Medivh a handful of times,
In
and it
open.
actually
And
looked
there's-
good.
yeah.
I mean, there was times he's way over aggressive, but I think he was just having a little bit of fun. But he actually played it pretty well. We have not seen it in the tournament yet, and there's a part of me that wonders, do you hold that for Crucible? Hide your strats, because
Maybe.
some people are going to look at your data in Open Division, but they're not necessarily going to hard dive into it. But Lag Force, and even a Death,
They're studying.
they're watching this.
Oh, yeah.
They are watching this.
Live or not, they're tuning in. Keeping eyes on the rotations, the tendencies of who's playing what, and all of that good stuff. Preparing for the Crucible, which is Saturday and Sunday, just a couple days away. Their opponents will be these two teams. We don't know who's facing off against who yet. Brightwing, Ban. Big question here is, are they bold enough to first pick Ariel? Look at the Falstad hover.
I think the false stat hover means that if they ban Morales, then maybe Ariel gets picked up on the other side, and you want to make sure that instead of banning them all out, you want to make sure you get one for yourself.
So it's already going to be a very different game than what we saw last night and what we saw tonight between these two teams. And I just love when you get so many games between the same teams that are evenly paired. The little confined meta and draft that is born with them, the respect bands, the adaptations. They literally played on this map, and these were two of the big influencing heroes of that game.
They're spending every single second thinking about it. Could just be setting up what they potentially want to do after this. Sometimes you kind of you have the full 60 seconds, the full allotment of time, and Jake, I'd say pretty accurate assessment.
Yeah.
When you talked about the Abathur.
This is exactly what I was hoping to see out of this team. Now, you grab Abathur. Yeah, sure. They want to grab Ariel, they can. Is it a guarantee? No way. But then you also have to look at the global situation. You can just say, we'll grab ETC because we know that Ishbu really wants to play ETC. It also gives us stage dive, and it also gives us a nice engage. Or you can go for an early Dahaka. Hasn't been as prominent, but it's an option.
I wouldn't mind seeing another Stitches. Maybe not in this pickup, but they're sticking to their guns.
They love the Zarya. And we talked about Expulsion Zone that last game.
All right. Greymane, Genji. You know, we haven't seen a lot of clone Greymanes. We saw the Chrome. There it is. There it is. There is the dive composition I've been waiting for from this team. The clone Greymane with the dive Tyrael. This is about as classic 2016 as it gets. Shades of summer 2016 popping up again.
Yeah.
I like it.
Now, throughout Open Division playoffs, and the end of the Phase 2 league, the only team that was busting out even a little bit of Tyrael was honestly important support. McIntyre, very capable of playing the hero, should be on it here. Crowan on the Grayman and Arthlon playing the Abathur. That leaves Ishbu and BBJ to be the last two picks for them. There's so many strengths to just having the Grayman and the dive with the Sanctification, but at the same time, holy ground for controlling space around the boss, sealing bosses, all of that. Lots of good key points for that. And in a way, when Falstad's not on the table, that's a win for them. It almost makes that Tyrael even safer because Falstad can't be picked by your opponent's Expulsion Zone. That whole dance will be really fun. They're hovering Uther to be
Just take away
the
all
ban
that
here.
protection.
Yeah, I think that's
Safe.
totally a warranted ban. What
I wonder
do
if we'll see the
they
Rhaegar,
ban?
though, here.
Like, is this going to be a Johanna ban? Are they going to be worried about Cho'Gall on Cursed Hollow?
I'd actually be more worried about an ETC.
That's fair.
Like, you have a fair bit of protection, but... actually,
Or
I take
Dahaka.
that back.
Yeah.
Arthas.
Arthas. They're going Cassia.
The one thing that Tyrael does struggle with is auto-attack style heroes, despite he has a fairly decent health pool, plus he has the built-in spell armor, plus he has his shield he can use.
He'll have that out of their hat plenty often as well, but Okay, so it's not a Chagall map. Can never count it out with important support if they have Ariel in tow. But Johanna, Cassia, Ariel, Zarya, that's like what they were playing last night. And Cassia's banned. Vala becomes the other tie-in in that case. So we'll see if they want to do that here. I like the case you made for ETC. But they've been playing so much Johanna the last 2 nights.
Again, I think that if they go Johanna, it's just a very safe neutral pick. I'd like to see an Arthas here to deal with that dive composition, get that slow, deal with a lot of that. They go to the Arthas. I like that pick a lot. Do we get... They're holding their damage. It's got to be either a Vala or a Lunara, and I think a lot of that will depend on the pick right here.
For the support, yeah. The Haka matches the global. Arthas deals with the dive. The Haka helps with the dive.
Triple work. I feel like I'm watching a tricked esports game.
This is what Imported has been doing a lot of. Ishbu and BBJ. ETC is an option for them. Something that definitely favored for Ishbu. But Malfurion, definitely not something BBJ is going to be eager to play after dealing with those expulsion zones in the last game. Oh my goodness. Lone Tank Tyrael. They're doing it. They're going to put Mac on the Malthael.
This might be an isolation game for Dahaka.
It might be. Rhaegar helps with the clear. Something they don't have the most of. Well, actually with Abathur it's pretty solid.
Whew.
Nice.
Just who needs a draft?
No.
ARAMs.
We're going to actually do the rest of the tournament in ARAM. What brawl is up right now? They could do the brawl.
Is it ARAM Brawl?
Probably not. It's probably the new map brawl. Rock'em Sock'em Robots. I haven't got to
Is that
play
what it is?
I think so. But
I've
I'm
been
not
busy.
certain. Yeah, I mean we've kind of been out of town. As we are streaming
Lunara
from
was the pick.
the Blizzard stream room, Lunara is the last pick. Okay.
I like it. It was highly dependent on what you would be going against. The Rhaegar is a decent counter. Against the solo Ariel, you have triple warrior, quite a bit of control, but you're relying on a solo heal Ariel against a Tormented Souls Malthael with a Sanctification.
And a clone.
And a clone. And a Greymane clone
With Go for the
potentially
Throat.
at that.
Go for the throat with Tormented Souls becomes, I mean, the whole dance around Crystal Aegis, and you have
You hit Tormented Souls, touch for death at level 7. It's like,
Bye-bye.
hey, that AoE heal was nice. Let me go ahead and reduce that before it even comes in. So there's a lot of play potential. In Expulsion Zone, if it doesn't come out early and kind of give you that split, now all of a sudden it's like, all right, well, we just put Sanctification down. If you put Expulsion Zone, like, it's probably going to be too late
good point.
at that point. So the draft for Heroes Hearth, I love it.
Yes.
I love it.
I mean, from the beginning of the draft, I was saying, if you're going to go into this Brightwing ban, let's see the Abathur. Let's see the Abathur. And they opened up with it. I think they pretty much had to. It's the second game where we're going to see Abathur for them tonight. And the first time they played it, it looked phenomenal. That was versus Donkeys R Us in the losers finals. And, you know, the one Malthael scary. You put a second Malthael in the mix, it's scary. Kerwin was on Chromie in that game, raining damage from afar, but Greymane can have a very similar impact of just being another target that's rushing you down. Dive, dive, dive. How often do we see dive compositions in this tournament, J-How? About 2% of the games. 2% of the games. And this is going to be a refreshing change of pace, but we'll see how it works out versus the Zarya, because it has been a good controlling variable for them in the level 10 team fights with that expulsion zone.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think, the draft there, it was Abathur, Malthael, Tyrael, Rhaegar, Greymane.
Right.
I'm just trying to think of the early laning matchups, because you can abuse the 3-man with the Ariel, Lunara, Zarya, abuse that, send off your Dahaka, easy, solo lane, and then your anti-siege potential early game with a Greymane is pretty limited. Cocktails early game, they don't really hurt that much. Tyrael will be able to get a little bit of clear, get a slow. You can potentially dive that if you want to, but that control with the pseudo support of Zarya, with the shields, with the no mana requirement, I wouldn't be surprised if we see some early lane pushes that might make that Abathur composition suffer, because the Arthas can hold a solo lane. And the Arthas, this is actually a trick that I've seen. It's something to consider. If you run the 1-1-3, so Dahaka top lane, Arthas mid, and then your 3-man bot, or put your 3-man top or bottom, what you do is you leave Arthas mid lane. Malthael will match up in whatever lane the Dahaka's in. If not, it'll be Abathur. What you do, because it will force a 3-man response, Abathur's a body, so you have to match the 1-1-3 in some form or another. So what you do as the Arthas is you fast clear the minion wave. Wrong. Abathur's sitting right behind that wall, trying to soak that XP. He wants you to send the minions. He doesn't care about the ammo. He wants you to send that. So as the Arthas, you actually don't clear the minion wave. You just proxy it right there. You just stand there and you basically sit with your hands off the keyboard. And you deny the experience away from the Abathur. You gain more experience because you have the stronger structure push in one lane. You deny experience by not sending that over to the Abathur because he cannot step out. And if he does step out, there's a little bit of a threat there. But you've seen this before, is that you use the Arthas to just not do damage. And the Arthas, or excuse me, the Abathur, he has to step out in order to get that, which it's not real scary because can the Arthas actually get to you? But I would love to see that. If they're going to go 1-1-3, I want to see them deny the lane XP to the Abathur, complement that 3-man by getting the advantage, and you're basically double dipping in early laning phases.
It's a really good point. And definitely an adaptation we could see happen for them here. So we're still waiting for one of our players to reconnect. They're just talking about the allotted amount of time they have. With this, there is a maximum amount of, I believe, pause time per game. And since the draft is technically the start of the game, this is effectively a pause. So
better take pause key off your keyboard.
Just, yeah, literally just saying, just remove it. Get your keys, prop it up, throw it in the window, out the window.
I mean, you can use it later.
No, just discard it. Guys, thank you all for tuning in to the HGC Open Division Finals. We'll be starting Game 3 very soon. It's tied up 1-1 right now. And a big shout out to all of you that have followed us here on Arcane 8. It's been an amazing season casting all the amateur teams since January. We
like
started
January 20th or so.
Wow.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah. 14 cups, 2 playoffs, and of course the Crucible will end it all this weekend. Saturday on twitch.tv/BlizzHeroes, the main HGC channel. Jay and I will be casting North America, and your Open Division casters Tetcher and Grubby will be casting Europe. Best of 7 for each region, 1 per day. Because best of 7s are intense, dude.
I love them, though.
I hope we get some good series. Because if we look back at Europe, didn't Zealots sweep? Didn't they 4-0 in their Crucible?
They won pretty handedly.
I think they swept. And Team Wish, formerly Zealots, went all the way to the last BlizzCon decider match in the European HGC League. Basically, this close to earning a spot. And that's huge. That's huge for them. So, Heroes Hearth, imported support, that's what we're trying to see. That's what we want to see. We want to see them have similar results to what Zealots have done in Europe after Phase 1. Because 2018 is a whole new world.
It's a whole
new world.
Another player disconnected, so we're trying to figure out exactly...
Ooh, okay.
Okay, one's back.
One's back. And they're running out of time, actually.
They are. It's unfortunate. Hopefully we got our players back. And I'm going to see...
Because the admins are rightfully very strict with the rulings here. There is a maximum amount of allotted time. And when the disconnect happens, that timer starts. The clock begins immediately. And we're asking for an update, yeah. But do hit that follow button here. Do you want to do a raffle? You have the power on that computer now.
Yeah.
So let me show you how. Go to the far right tab on the browser. Tab, yep. And then next line below that, copy that guy.
Please tell me how to copy and paste.
Control C after you highlight.
Really?
Well done.
I'm
well
a right
done,
click.
Well done.
No, that's
All
just
right.
anarchy.
Go to the tab left of that. Hit that guy.
Just
No,
clicking.
to left, right there. And you'll waffle. Incoming waffle. Awesome. Now click the message sign right there. There you go.
I'm pretty much.
Click subject on a bundle. Oh my goodness.
If only I knew how to use a mouse and keyboard without guidance.
You gotta send it. You gotta send it. Hit send.
This
hit-
button, the
no,
one that says
no,
cancel?
not cancel.
Which?
No,
oh,
the
the one that
next
says
one.
send.
Yeah. Send.
Ah,
Mm.
I was a little bit
Oh,
confused.
Get away from that cancel button. Niru, congratulations on your bundle. If you guys saw your name pop up in the chat, that is the 6th on a bundle we've given out tonight. Just be sure to check your messages on Twitch. There is an inbox, and sometimes the messages end up in the other box. The other box could contain your code. Redeem those at battle.net/code. Uh-oh, another disconnect.
No, I think time is up, and we're getting confirmation from admins at the moment.
That's not a forfeit of the series, it's a forfeit of the game.
Right.
Right.
And then
This could be a free win to Heroes Hearth, which is unfortunate for sure, but at the end of the day, rules exist for a reason. These kind of situations never optimal. It's like having your cleat break in the middle of a soccer game and tripping and then getting scored on. P Sports. I don't like P Sports very much.
has that happened to you? Like,
I mean, maybe.
that's a very specific example.
Well, what I mean,
Cleats have multiple spikes.
but maybe a lot of them came off. Maybe
what?
the ground is really sticky.
Did you make them yourself? Like,
Hey man, someone's gotta make the budget cleats sometimes. All right, how's this? It's like having your baseball bat shatter. I don't know, man. Anyways, we are gonna take a look to see what the official ruling is from the admins.
yeah, both teams are communicating with the admin. So we have a player, just so if everybody is wondering what's going on, player disconnected. A lot of you already know the rules. Player disconnected, there's a certain time allotment to where they have for that player to come back on.
15 minutes total.
15 minutes
Which
total.
is generous, honestly.
It is very generous. It's normally 10. 15 minutes. We're getting a ruling on whether you are allowed to play with a bot on your team. This is a topic that came up a few months back, if I remember. We're getting some clarification on that from the official rules. I don't know the rule book. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to go find that right now, so we're leaving it to the powers that be, the admin. So we're getting an update on that. The players are actively working in chat. They're updating everybody. Apparently the player is back, but
Yep. I mean, at the end of the day,
the rules are the rules.
the admins will consult the rule book. The admins may consult HGC staff just to get a final verdict. How the actual final call is made is beyond us. And, you know, sometimes, depending on the game in these situations, a team can offer to allow the game to be played, right? They can say, we don't want to take the win, or we do want to take the win. This
It
is the
doesn't
grant.
matter.
You take the win.
But
like-
even then, you take it out of the hands there. It is you got to follow the rules.
Well, no.
Whether you want to give it or not.
Again, I don't know what the rules state.
If the rules state you forfeit,
but
it's forfeit.
I'm just saying, like, every rule book's a little bit different. Some teams can fight for it. But again, we'll keep you guys up to date as to what the final verdict is here. Let's see. Yeah, that college internet, apparently. But thanks for being patient, everyone, as we look to see if we are going to be playing on Cursed Hollow with a draft that was already completed if you're just tuning in. Disconnect happened at the end of the draft, and we've been hanging out here for, 17, 18 minutes, waiting for a resolution. In the event the map is a Hero's Hearth win, it'll mean 2-1 advantage to them, and we will go straight to game 4.
Yep.
But there's still a possibility of us playing the game.
It's like it's those sports. It's like if you are going past the speed limit and you get pulled over, just because you slowed down doesn't mean you didn't already break the law. Much better than tripping over a broken cleat or breaking your bat, which happens all the time when you hit the ball.
It's like you're going for a knuckle puck, and and your hockey stick snaps in half.
Is that what that is? I had no idea.
Mighty Ducks reference. That's my sports knowledge right there, boys and girls. Ladies and gentlemen, lads and
a
lasses.
knuckle puck.
Knuckle
Is that
puck.
a common term?
No, it's a Mighty Ducks term. I don't know if it's a real thing, but it's when they... the puck is flat, right? The puck is a circular disc in hockey.
It's a cylindrical. It has height to it.
Okay. Fine. And you can put it on its side and smack it. It seems like a terrible thing to do. There's probably zero benefit to actually doing that. But man, is it stylish. I want to watch Mighty Ducks now. My wife hates.
I want a new co-caster. I don't know.
You don't like the Mighty Ducks?
I never saw it, and I don't get any of your references because I don't know if you've actually ever played sports. We have admins investigating. Quick update. I know you guys want to get the games. We want to get the games underway. I'm going to keep you guys updated as much as possible.
We have a direct line with the admins open as well. That's what I'm looking at right now.
We're waiting on Jake to try and explain
Mighty,
sports.
you have never seen Jay. I was varsity on the football team as a sophomore in high school.
Right.
I played football
Everybody needs
almost
a
my whole
tackling
life.
dummy in practice, Jake.
Holy Played hockey most of my life.
I bet you can't guess what sport I played.
Basketball.
No.
Really?
No.
Wrestling.
No.
Swim.
Dude, I was
Swim
captain.
team. Swim team.
Captain of the
Captain Speedo.
all-league chess team.
That's pretty esports right there.
It's been proven that by being taller, you have a better vantage point over the chessboard, allowing you to make more calculated and efficient.
I hate you so much.
Okay, it's basketball and track. Basketball and track.
Hurdling. Disc throwing.
Okay, we got an update.
Pole
We've got an
vaulting.
update. All right, hold on. We got an official update. Unfortunately for imported support, they had a disconnect in the draft. The allotted time was used that they had to get that player back. Unfortunately, he did not meet that time limit, and imported support was
Rules are
forced
rules.
to forfeit the game, not the series. That will give a 2-1 advantage over to Heroes Hearth.
Mm-hmm.
We will move on to game number 4 and continue to play out this best of 5.
Now, this is obviously a bit devastating, right? To always have these situations happen in the grand finals. The advantage that is given to the team that wins the series is grand, right? To choose your opponent. But imported support, just got to treat it like any other game. Not let it get to them. Cursed Hollow is out the window. The draft was super interesting. I really wanted to see that game. I'm disappointed.
really wanted
I
to
know.
see that.
I'm actually quite sad. Like, could they just play it for it to not count so we can see it? That'd be great. Unfortunately, we will be going straight to Game 4, 2-1 lead, like you said, for Heroes Hearth. And it's going to be Towers of Doom for the next map.
Quite a bit different than Cursed Hollow. Drafts will probably look somewhat similar. But circumstances happen. It's unfortunate, I think, for both teams. I think no matter what, if you're on both sides, you want it to be as even as fair as possible. I'm not gonna lie. If you're in that position, I'm sure that you're probably okay with the win. But we move on. Game 4 here. Curious to see how these drafts play out. We had some pretty epic Towers of Doom games our first few days. This map not missing either, but
chat, I love you. All right. Everyone's in the lobby. Towers of Doom is the map. There will be a new draft. They're not going to recycle their Cursed Hollow draft. It will be a new instance. Game number 4, 2-1 lead, and it looks like the teams are coming in. The admins did make the final call for that, but it's all by the rule book, which was reviewed, and the decision was made. Here we go on to Towers of Doom. First pick, first ban to imported support.
all right. We've seen the Brightwing bans every game for Heroes Hearth against imported support, and we'll see if that continues. We've seen Morales bans win its first ban on the side of imported support. We'll see if the trend continues here. So, gonna take their time. We saw Falstad was the first ban, but that was Cursed Hollow. This is Towers of Doom. See how it goes. And they do continue with the Morales ban.
I like the Morales ban, and it's gonna be Brightwing. Taking away the global, taking away the aware on that hero, saying you can have Ariel. Definitely another big option. If Ariel's grabbed here, ETC seems very likely for the other side.
This is imported support in a nutshell. Abathur we saw as a first pick in our previous draft. It is likely that we might see an Abathur pick up here on Towers of Doom. But Falstad let it through. Maybe a Tassadar. We did see the Tassadar make the appearance earlier in the Tass Chromie game.
That's true. They did go for some of those earlier weird picks. This is another potential Abathur on Towers.
I think Abathur, Falstad, Tassadar are going to be high priority heroes.
They go
But they
Gul'dan
stick with the
ETC.
Gul'dan.
Now, Crowan has been doing wondrous damage on the Gul'dan. ETC, probably the most played hero when it comes to Ishbu. Cho'Gariel is not really a thriving composition on this map because then you have to worry about potential, global pressure, not being able to keep up with fortifications, whittling down your too much global presence just not available when you have two bodies in one. But we've seen a lot of early Zarya for them, regardless, and that could be picked up here.
I wonder, we saw last time they held the pick of will it be Vala, will it be Lunara, and I wonder if they'll be able to get away with the same thing here, because Heroes Hearth might try and turn the tables and maybe in the second ban phase ban out the Vala or ban out the Lunara. Instead, they go Greymane, and I don't know if that's going to be the final version of this composition. They are on the Zarya train right now.
They are. And, we had that team fight in the last game here where Expulsion Zone goes out, buys space for that Vala to back up, get the Crystal Aegis and the heals from Ariel, and Greymane just kind of starts tearing everyone apart. They showed power with all these heroes throughout the event, and it's cool to have them essentially adjusting their style mid-tournament.
I don't know if I've seen imported on Abathur before, and in this composition, I've been watching a lot of the various regions, and a Greymane Ariel has been pretty rough to watch, and
It is.
flat out do not. I would be surprised. It's okay because you have the Zarya, but Jake, I would be surprised if this ends up being solo backline Greymane with an Ariel.
I don't think it can be. I think it has to be like that Vala.
Some teams have been trying to make it work, and I think that maybe with Zarya it's a bit more forgiving, perhaps. They might stick with it. I have not been a fan of it for a few months now because the results have been pretty terrible. You just don't generate the hope needed that we've seen go. So, still got 2 picks. We'll see what they go. As second ban phase here for imported support. Will they target another support? Will we see something else like the Falstad or the Hagaband? Or the Lucio?
I could dig the Lucio here. 1 second remains. Ends up being Lucio. Heroes Hearth. Probably going to stray away from Malfurion. Like we said, Expulsion Zone had BBJ's number when he played that. Rhaegar, a good option. Rhaegar Gul'dan, not the best option. And that's a big part of why we ended up seeing Malfurion in that last game, the early priority for Gul'dan. So Jay Howe, what is the support situation? Uther, vulnerable to Lunara if you go for that. Lucio's taken away. They're just going to do Rhaegar. It's not the standard Gul'dan optimal healer.
But they can still go into double support with this composition now. They can still comfortably go into it. There's a few fallback options. I don't know if they'll necessarily go that. You know, we've seen McIntyre play that secondary support role. We could see them go into that. The Rhaegar does add a little bit to the team fight. He's got, you know, the chain heals, can help with the dive. Might not be done yet, and I think that it is solely reliant on if we see a Lunara here, on whether they go that double support. We might even see a potential Stukov to try and deal with that front line. You can't shield yourself as Zarya when you're silenced, and I've seen that work on a handful of occasions, and I think it's a really, really good counter towards a Zarya frontline style play. Makes her far more susceptible to burst damage, or at least the sustained poke of a Gul'dan. Warrior-wise, could see the Johanna in this case. Maybe the Stitches again.
Tassadar and Tyrael.
Wow.
So-
Shields? Shields.
And oh, hey, look, Shields. I believe this is the first time Imported Support has played Tassadar out of the... What have we had? This will be the 8th game between these two teams in the last 24 hours. Tyrael Greymane, Expulsion Zone, Holy Ground, Sanctification, Crystal Aegis, Force Wall, maybe Archon. Lots of good space control.
The one thing that they do lack,
Is that mouthfeel response, other than Sanct.
well, the Mouthale response, and also the potential mosh pit. If you go Sanctification against a Tormented Souls and you 5-stack on that, I'm ETC and I'm power sliding in. I don't care if I get the stun or not. I'm getting in position to hit that R button, because the only interrupt that you're going to have is the Expulsion Zone or Detainment Strike.
Yeah. Or Cast Aside. Remember that ability?
No.
You weren't around when Cast Aside. Oh my goodness.
That's
So it is Abathur.
no Mighty Ducks, no Cast Aside. I saw Cast Away.
Cast Aside is an old Tyrael talent where his smite would actually push you to the side. And
Seems
it was
good.
so busted.
Well, technically, Ariel has a small one like that at 13, but rarely used. Not super rare.
That was like a level 4 talent. Ancient talent. Ancient heroes history for you there, guys. Abathur is the final pick. We did see Abathur Malthael out of Heroes Hearth earlier today. And when they dive in, it is chaotic. Donkeys R Us was their opponent in that match, and they did not have the answer. Maybe Imported will.
This could be the final game of Heroes Hearth can win this, they will be the Open Division Championship. And they are up 2 games to 1 in this best of 5, as they will be on the left in blue with BBJ on the Rhaegar, Ishbu on ETC, Arthlon on the Abathur one more time, Gul'dan being played by Corone, and McIntyre on Malthael.
Their opponents suffered a disconnect loss per the rule set in the tournament. Now need to dig deep to stay alive in the grand finals. The Aware going to be on Ariel Draded, playing that Greymane specialty on Tassadar. Ignition going to be on Tyrael and Swabs Magoo, looking so deadly on Zarya. The only team that played Zarya in this entire event, as far as I can remember. She's not at all common in the current meta. They're making a case for it. They're also making a case for blowing up Crowan as he dies 20 seconds into this game. Well done. So much dive potential when you have a hero like Tyrael going in.
It's not the start that you want. This is, all right, we're getting some old school laning here, as Tassadar is going to be our solo laner, and that is something we haven't seen in a good long while. Not the best, not the worst. Can hold his own for a little bit. And here's that push I was talking about.
Ignition will be maintaining the center of the map. And that push you talked about with Greymane, Ariel, and Zarya already gets 1 tower. Zarya can soak up so much of the shields, gives her all the energy for additional damage, and of course Greymane feeds plenty of hope for Ariel's energy bar.
I think I need to clarify, I wasn't around Heroes the whole time.
What?
Wasn't around during the alpha.
Oh, I know.
Wasn't privileged.
I just don't remember how long ago that was.
I was around in
It's
the
hard
beta,
to remember.
right?
I mean, I guess he did lose Cast Aside pretty early. It's hard, everything meshes together in my brain there.
Hero's been around a while, trying for the invade, but the detainment strike is going to take Ishbu into the wall there. I don't know if they've got enough energy, as the nice face melt will knock them back. Swabs Magoo going to soak up a little bit of energy from those tower shots. See how this plays out, as we saw some interesting plays earlier. Ignition, is he going to get there?
I was so interested to see if they would actually expect to have that happen, because earlier today Towers of Doom was played with Arthlon on the Abathur, and a lot of Abathurs won't actually go for the channel on the truth. It's just fearing it. Getting that slow pretty much prevents any opposition on the bottom altar, and what was it? 1 Aldrumin's Might spent to make sure they get a free bottom altar and then push down the bottom lane. Pretty darn good.
Pretty darn good. This is how we're going to describe this series, because last night we got 5 games. We're at game 4 now, potential for a 5th game. It's a nice early start. It is an Abathur composition, so the expected 2-for-1 trade did go through.
Ishbu not feeling that power slide. Respecting the shield still available from Swabs Magoo in that 3v3 situation. So far, this lane has been dominant for imported. Looking good. It is Abathur early game. Always feels a little bit less scary having that less, one less body on the map.
ETC trying to find ways, but without the early damage composition, you're relying a lot on the Gul'dan. I'm surprised that they didn't maybe look for a potential invade again here, but Tyrael needed the mana, he's one of the most mana-deprived heroes in the game.
Yeah, he really is.
Goes ahead and hurts on back.
To get some new D3 loot with that mana. 7 is here for imported, around the corner right now for Heroes Hearth. Let's see how they decide to play it. It will be Mule, just like the last series versus Donkeys R Us in the losers finals. Makes the sappers in this bottom lane that are going to be pushing forward throughout the game. a little bit less threatening, because if a whole wave hits, you can heal it up. A whole wave hits, you can heal it up. And I don't know, Abathur's like the only hero that we see Mule on nowadays.
It's the last remaining one.
Is it the last remaining Mule in the game?
I believe he is, yeah.
Oh, I believe it.
The recent reworks have left him
I mean,
the lone
generic-
one.
Yeah, generic talents in general are pretty much removed. You think they'd like redesign it to be Zergy if it's the last one, but oh well. Terran abilities for the Abathur. Evolve, adapt. So 8-point deficit for Heroes Hearth. Definitely not great, but it's not the end of the world. They're just waiting and soaking and maintaining a decent position in the game. And once level 10 is there, then you'll see them be a little bit more aggressive, looking for those Malthil Abathur assaults.
I wondered if we would see the continued push that we saw in the early game with the Zarya to try and get that early structure damage, get that lead. Instead, it's been played fairly even because the experience basically dead even with a minor lead. And now Ignition's got some mana, he's got Tyrell, and he's going to walk on in. Crowan,
Okay.
going to wait and see.
Ishbu does dodge the Detainment Strike. McIntyre coming around the backside with a hat 10, not here for either team. They know that's a power spike that's being awaited right now for Heroes Hearth, but Ignition so deep, Hassel's runes, the safety, the aware is so low from McIntyre having that hat and the damage. Yes, they get the Sapper Camp, but they've lost one. They could lose more here. Ishbu trying to seclude Swabs Magoo.
Swabs Magoo stepped on the point, he got the Sapper Camp, but it was at the expense of Ariel's life on the backside. BBJ was forced to retreat in the middle of that simply due to the fact that Zarya's high energy started to do a lot of damage, but now we've got Ariel just now respawning. You do have the particle grenades, which can interrupt here, but you've now got the clone target online as Abathur and team are here.
You know, honestly, the bigger deal I feel right now is that they're getting all the additional soak. They've got 10 first. Abathur clone needed probably, as this might be get stalled out now, will successfully grab that nice power slide through. They're going to continue with this fight. Ancestral! Oh my goodness. Does make it in.
That Horrify saved Ishbu's life. He's healed back to full after the Ancestral. Swabs Magoo eating up all that damage to contribute to that energy bar. They're going to push in momentarily, but a Gul'dan clear will just instantly wipe that clean.
And after still hanging out up top, the longer they hang around in the situation where they're trying to pressure, and getting no added value, the better it is for Heroes Hearth, because he's opening up the opportunities in the top lane. Those Locusts, those minions, Archer, I don't know how he ended up down there. Must have been a huge wave at one point, because it's built up, and they're looking for the invade here in the bottom half. Not going to make it in time to steal the Sapper Camp. Just decided to back away, fearing Expulsion Zone disrupting their team.
Yeah, I wonder, you know, Ishbu was a little bit hesitant when we had that really good power slide. He had to keep an eye on his targets, make sure, you know, you don't have those primary targets for the interrupt. And I wonder when he's going to pull that trigger on that mosh pit and see if they can get that good value. See, invade there, not quite paying out as they showed up late, but getting back to the laning phase, Imported Sport managing to kind of get back in the experience.
Yeah, it's definitely like a really nice thing to have. Things like Tyrael with, you know, Holy Ground later on and Expulsion Zone for controlling this kind of choke point. Those invades become infinitely more risky, and I don't know how often the invade will even be attempted from Heroes Hearth because of that main variable in the mix. But you don't need to invade Sapper Camps to win the game for sure. Sometimes just playing safe is the right call in that situation.
Double altar phase, and you talked about how much experience was attributed to that last skirmish. We've got a full level lead, 13 threatening here for Heroes Hearth. We'll see how Imported wants to
Ignition.
They're split.
Yeah, they're just leaving. Now, the big win here is the fact that Arthalon's clone is slowly but surely just evaporating into nothingness. Be aware and Swabs Magoo. A little bit of indecision as Arthalon is just keeping them occupied. Crowan might get the free channel. That's 2 altars with 0 contention due to the amount of zoning that was provided by the entire team. And now we see Heroes Hearth in the lead by 4 points.
It was an interesting approach. The minute they got split, they had no
They were afraid.
point of entry, and
Yeah.
as you said, the body blocks were very well done. And it was just, you know, the mouth ale slowly peppering away, the clone mouth ale slowly just eating those health bars.
A lot of respect we're seeing from both teams, you know, not wanting to take unnecessary risks. 13 advantage was also a part of that, and Abathur push is getting value. McIntyre has the hat and the approach to push in. Gotta be careful as those minions won't last long under the top fort. They've opened it up, and the threat of these sappers, something Specialty is going to have to keep his eyes on. Speaking of sappers, one of them should at least connect here on this tower. Further opening the map.
You got an expulsion zone? I don't know if he's in position.
That
No
has
sidewalls.
helped a lot. Okay, Ancestral, well worth the save there.
Very much well worth. The Aware turning around, trying to get that energy, and the entire time they're losing out on the soak, and you can rest assured that the hats are going out,
That's
trying to get that
huge.
mid lane soak. Top lane now, it's not completely dire just yet, but
No, but like if they get in enough situations where Abathur's left alone on the top, that goes from bad to worse very quickly. Global advantage. With this Brightwing ban, the lack of Dahaka, and the pickup of Abathur is a significant thing to have here in Towers of Doom. Especially in the late game situations when death timers get longer and longer. Crowan
No
doesn't have an
Ancestral this
Ancestral,
time.
yeah. Expulsion Zone will be cleansed. They're diving deep. They find the kill. Horrify did nothing due to a wonderful Sanctification to guarantee that pickup, and BBJ will go down as well. Big plays as the triple altar phase. Such a big time for that to happen.
ETC and Mouthail are top, which means this Tassadar positioning now is in a rough spot. They're going to try and send somebody up. Has
D-shift.
to use Archon just to
Yeah,
get that second
yeah.
one.
For the D-shift. Now Ishbu, caught between a rock
Overstayed.
and a hard place. He's going to stay alive as long as he can. Look at the hearth. Not going to get away with it. Boss has already been started by Swabs Magoo.
I would have actually liked to seen them go bot lane
Yeah.
and get the sapper camps and
Speaking
take
of bot lane.
control of the bot lane. Instead, they're opting for 4 easy points, which I've been arguing about this a lot lately, is that bot lane control far more valuable than the 4 shots you're obtaining here. The bot 4 towers, and now the sappers on the left side picked up. By the time you get the bottom right sappers, it's basically going to be neutral. You might not even get the bottom bell tower.
Arthalon is out of there in plain sight, so they're not going to hunt for him. They're going to start straight on the sappers in the bottom. With that play being made there, getting the double kill, getting the boss, they're 4 points ahead. It's 16 to 20 and level 16 just about here for both teams right now, but there's still a nice advantage for Heroes Heart. The top bell tower is quite weak. The bottom bell tower is quite weak. With a global advantage, that can severely complicate things around the time of the next, or maybe 2 altars from now.
They're going to trade top and hopefully get bottom. If they don't get bottom, it's going to be rough. Holy Ground is there. Ishbu.
Malphil's making his way. Now, Autopel Horse was picked up again, so this rotation is a lot quicker than you might expect sometimes. He even sees they're backing up, just going to settle for soaking in mid. Avatar's position.
Listen, I'm going to paint a picture here. The bell towers on the bottom side for imported support are both low. You lose this altar phase in a team fight, you might be looking at a 6 cap.
Yeah.
Very easily if this goes bad, and it could potentially be game. I'm not saying it will happen. We might just see the gentleman's handshake here and both teams just kind of split.
Yeah, but
I don't see it happening.
Abathur in position down here. Task Rayman, the moment they show, Arthalon's going to know that he is plenty safe. He's actually using the hat to slow it down as long as he can. Is it enough to get the 1 additional damage from BJ? I don't think it is.
They're giving it up. They're going to go take bottom bell tower and take bot lane control. That's exactly why you see Gul'dan and Malphil hitting bottom. Should be able to obtain that before the rest of the team comes down.
So it ends up being 4 for 4. 4 damage. Lead maintained. Bottom bell tower is down. Oh, He's so swift.
Well, they're coming in. Okay, they're coming in hot.
Abathur just was able to tunnel out of there. Gonna need that clone eventually. Sit in front of the hat of McIntyre for the time being. Ancestral and a good sanctification has been used. Horrify not available. The clone is. Are they going to continue trying to fight? Looks like a no. Abathur does have the global pressure in the top lane, so if this is drawn out, again, that value comes into play.
One minion held there, so they're not eating the shots. The rest of the minions will make their way in, but we've got a flank from Malthael coming in the back line right now. Malthael is coming in. Specialty already coming out. The Death Shroud there. The Mosh Pits is on to the Aware. He has nobody to save him. Draded trying to trade off there. He might likely fall, but the shield's going to keep him to safety. And just like that, Heroes Hearth taking control as this game goes later.
Arthlon doesn't want to just give them the free XP by dying. He'll wait for it to expire. That Mosh Pit onto one hero, usually not what you want with Mosh Pit, but if it's Ariel, makes all the difference. So, as we look at this, Sappers will connect 1, 2, and 3. Severely weakening this again. 3 more en route, which is why you see this 4th position. Malthael and Abathur challenging Tassadar. 3 Sappers optional for them again, and it's middle and bottom altars. You know, this Arya has been really cool, but I think the lack of global is hurting them so much in this game.
That going through there gives them a nice chunk of XP to get to 20. And with 5 shots on the board, it's going to put you down to 2. If you give up both, I take that. Oh, excuse me, it's on the other side. So 15, the lead currently in favor of Imported Sport, but it won't be for long.
Nope, because now they have 10 HP. And that one Sapper that got to walk through willy-nilly in the bottom lane, it makes that potential of just needing the one altar really scary. 5 HP suddenly is all that's left. Malthael rotating towards the top of the map, so they know that they're not at full power for the defense here, but having the bell tower makes it a lot safer. Anapel Horus, a talent that we were talking about earlier, questioning, you know, is that going to be enough? It is proven to be a big deal as that rotation is so swift.
He's trying for the flank again. And they desperately want this back. Not only will it give them control, or at least regain control of the bot lane, but it will give them 20, because right now they're handcuffed here. There's a camp being started, and if you don't clear this, then now you're defending against Sappers potentially pushing across that line. And when you have a Gul'dan on your side, the wave clear is heavily favoring Gul'dan in this instance. It's a tough defense right now.
You can see Ignition like thinking maybe there's a way we can invade here and Expulsion Zone Holy ground them out. Not gonna happen. Fork goes down. Sappers, unfortunately, are timed in a way in which this won't have respawn. So they're just gonna die, but Abathur did in fact get the top altar. So again, one altar can end it all here.
Tense moments for Imported Support. Double altar phase. The top
Do or
bell
die.
tower has taken. It is do or die. It is fight and win, or fight and take second place. And this is what it all comes down to. They don't have time to recapture that. They do not have time.
20 to 20. The
body
fight is
blocking.
beginning.
Ignition is being body blocked out. I don't know if Swabs is going to get over there. They've spawned. The Horrify, it's got them zoned out. Sanctification is there just to try and get over there. Ignition going over. BBJ gets interrupted at the last moment as the smite does it with the Mosh Pit on the backside. Expulsion Zone is going to interrupt it. McIntyre gets the Ancestral. The
boss
is out.
The Headless Horseman is actually doing a ton of damage to Imported Support. McIntyre will end up dying. Draded as a poison to heal last second.
They're doing
it! Crowin goes down. BBJ falls as well.
But ETC on the other side. ETC on the other side gets a channel. He gets it. He gets the back door, and that is it. Heroes Hearth has done it with the backdoor altar, and just like that, Heroes Hearth has done it. Maddening the way that last fight broke out. The boss doing all the work in the middle of that. They get the kills. They got the kills that they need, but ETC snuck over to that backside.
Sneaky kill.
Just seconds away.
Hard,
Wow.
far fought couple of nights here. Imported Support won in the winners finals. The unfortunate disconnect situation with the internet failing for one of the players. And, the drafts changed dramatically, I feel. The adaptations in Heroes Hearth's approach, putting McIntyre back on heroes like Malthil. The Abathur pick in that draft, which I was so excited to see, really, really made it look like a different series compared to last night.
It was definitely felt more Heroes Hearth-esque in the way that we've known them to play, and they've been very flexible throughout all the cups. But
From the beginning.
it's kind of always been the McIntyre flexing there, but he shined the brightest when he was on the melees, and it's not like he's bad Tassadar in all those situations, but it felt like they had a much higher impact in
I
these
think
situations.
that's the best way to put it. Like the impact that he had on Malthil, especially with the Abathur pairing. And the global advantage, the swap to a Brightwing ban rather than the Ariel ban. Also, really, really nice adjustments they made in their play. And that's going to give Heroes Hearth the #1 seed, J-How.
Yeah, and so now they get to pick. They've been laying down the even and death sprays for the last several weeks in the Open Division, and you got to imagine that that's probably who they're going to pick. We'll find out.
So
I believe.
we did have an interview with BBJ a few weeks ago, and although we're not going to have live interviews tonight due to time constraints, we will be looking to have members from both of these teams on Town Hall soon. It's a podcast we run on this channel, and that's definitely high on my list to get BBJ or Crowan or McIntyre, one of those guys at least, and then someone from Imported Support to talk about the Crucible. But yeah, man, that first seed.
Not too bad. Not too bad. Getting going up against Lagif or Even in Death. I imagine Even in Death will be there. We talked about not only that, but the server that you play on.
Yep.
And about how that matters for certain teams between West Coast and Central. So that's I say a small thing, but that is one thing to consider. But in terms of team, I'd say Even in Death will likely be getting the phone call. Real soon.
That is the end result of the playoffs. 8 teams entered, and Imported Support will be the #2 seed, and Heroes Hearth will take that #1 seed. Seems fitting, as throughout this season, Heroes Hearth has won every single cup except for the first one, by far, in a way, ahead of everyone else in the points. Imported and Donkeys had a great season as well, and I think all of these teams showed up. We saw so much improvement. Team numerics. I'm excited to see the future of that team. I'm excited to see if our teams can make it through the Crucible and into the Pro League, and what kind of changes are made before 2018. It's been a heck of a season, J-How, but it's not done technically.
Yeah, a few more days away. We'll be moving from this Blizzard office to a studio.
The HGC studio. For the Crucible, Saturday starts pretty early with EU. I think we start around 10 a.m. I don't remember the exact times, but head to heroesofthestorm.com/esports to learn about the start times, the schedule, where it's starting in your region or your time zone for HGC. J-How, shout-outs, man.
Just Twitter, I think, is main updates. I don't know. I mean, I'm going to be going after I go home. Yeah, it's right there, right under. I'm gonna go home, work on some YouTube content. Cool. It's been a weird travel year, coming back to the hurricane on my last trip, and then it kind of limited my time home.
Yeah.
So then I'm back on the road again, and then I'll be home Monday, start working again. Just been streaming a lot lately as well. J-How 4444 on Twitch.
Big shout out to Blizzard for bringing us out early to be able to do this together live, hang out with the devs, hang out with the community managers, and talk about Heroes of the Storm literally 24/7.
Pretty much all I do anyways, but it's cooler here.
It's a lot more fun to do it in person for sure. The Crucible, like we said, J-How and I for NA, Grubby and Tetcher for EU. It's going to be an intense weekend, best of 7s, to determine whether you sink or swim to hold your HGC spot or fall to our amateur Open Division teams that are looking to rise above. Thank you all so much for tuning in and for supporting Arcane 8 and HGC and Heroes of the Storm. We'll see you next time.